So let's consider that we have WPF application. We have a window here and we have a grid, and then grid being layout control. What we want to do is we want to add a button inside this grid. So we have couple of options. Option 1, we can go to toolbox and we can drag and drop a WPF control. So one can very well drag this and drop a WPF control here. However, this is not the best practice that people follow. So what is it that people prefer is, instead of dragging and dropping the button, keep a note here, that is, after dragging and dropping a button, what gets added here is one XAML element gets added, which is called as button. Now this is one option. So instead of dragging and dropping the component, which I'm going to go and delete, so suddenly the grid is empty in here. Second option we have, look at the name of this window. So by default this window has some title given. By default this window is represented by some sort of class that is called as main window, which is a code behind file. So in order to add something into the grid, what one can do is we can very well add here something like a name. So if I add a name to the grid, let's call it as my grid over here. So what one can do, we can very well right click, we can go to the code window, and then in here, once the constructor gets called, we know that XAML elements gets converted, or XAML gets converted, specifically element perspective code is going to get converted into C#, and that is going to be one glue file or auto generated file. So option 1, you drag and drop. Option 2, you code here a button class object. So you can very well go and say button equal to new button, which means whatever is automatically generated, instead of that, what you do is you do it by yourself in order to get a full control. And then whatever button you write, you generate, you add a height to it, you add a width to it, and whatever minimum properties which are required to have some sort of basic appearance for a button, what you can do is you can set those properties. So then later on what you can do is you can access that my grid that we created here. So keep it in mind, it wasn't ID, it was name property. And then with this layout control, what you can do is inside the children, you can very well add another child, which is going to be a button in this case. And then ultimately that button can be seen added in the UI. So we have couple of options. One is through code you achieve this, and then second, you achieve this using XAML. So what is it that is people prefer in the projects is, we don't prefer to code in CS. We rather prefer to get it done in case of XAML. So do we drag and drop? No. Rather, personally, if you ask me, I don't prefer to add using drag and drop. I prefer to code here, because that way you get connected well with XAML and you understand XAML very well. So soon or later you will find out this XAML is going to be super complex. And then to understand what each of the attribute, each of the property means in case of XAML, it's a best practice that you start coding in the XAML itself. So here we go. I have a grid. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a button here. That button is going to have a name, which is going to be, let's say, BTN. Then I need to provide a height over here. I'll put up height as in, let's say, 80. Now this particular unit that we have, it is well known as device independent unit or simple device independent pixel. So DIP or DIU is something which is a short form for this. Again, this is not something which is routine pixels or routine percentage that you set up in case of WinForms. So we will understand this value in a while. So as of now, I have added height as in 80 and I'll add width as in 200. Keep it in mind, I am adding height and width in the form of double quote. Ultimately, height and width values, if you code in C# over here. So the code that we used over here was this. So if I go and try to see height over here, keep it in mind, the height is ultimately a property of kind double. So it appears in IntelliSense immediately, as you can check. So height is of double type. So when we put it in C#, it has to be in double on the right hand side. But when I put it in XAML, ultimately I am putting it in double quote, which means more like a string. So who does this conversion of a string value put up in XAML into something called as double? So there is some sort of converter which is going to go and play a role over here. XAML is full of such kind of surprises. So I have added height, I have added width, and then I'm going to put a text on top of button. Had it been a window form button, I would have added .text property. But since it's XAML, it actually comes up with something called as content here. So I'm going to put a content called as click me. Keep it in mind, almost everything here is a container. So button is a container and it can hold a content, and as of now I'm putting a content which is called as click me. So after all this, you will notice button is added exactly at the center with height as in 80 dib and width as in 200. Now after all this, what we have to do is we will have to specifically tell this button what to do on a click. So I'm going to add one event and a handler. So here it asks me to generate an event handler. Can't we write down the code of an event handler in the XAML itself? Just like we are doing everything in the XAML, why can't we write the event handler in a XAML? Hold on for a while. We can write the event handler in case of XAML, but then that is from the perspective of manipulating UI elements. You can't have too much of logic build using XAML itself. XAML is majorly for UI, for complex UI elements alignment. So here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say generate a new event handler, and it is going to expect a method now called as button_click. But then at the same time, this ID Visual Studio is also going to add one C# function over here, as you can see, which is called button_click. Then why this argument is routed event args instead of event args? Again, WPF has got a couple of ways to handle the events. One is called as routing, other one is called as tunneling. We will eventually come to that point soon. So as of now, I just want to show some message box. So I'll put here message box, and then I'll show the message box with some content. Let's say hi or hello WPF. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to compile this application. So after compilation, you will find out it starts the build, it compiles the entire project, and now if you go to folder, you will find out there is a simple exe build. Now this exe has got the C# specific MSIL, and then it also has got BAML. So just to show you that it has got that piece of code, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start another application. So there is one application called Just Decompile from a company called Telerik. So it's a free of cost kind of a software. You can download it. It's kind of a disassembler, which means it's going to disassemble any .NET assembly, and it is going to show you kind of disassembled code, which can be MSIL, which can be to some extent C# code as well, if you prefer. And it's also going to go and show you some resources. So in this so-called Telerik Just Decompile tool, what I can do is I can very well drag and drop this exe here, and notice this demo exe that we have, it has got certain contents. So it has got one main window, and main window has got a class. It shows me C# class as of now, but then normally in case of IL it looks like this. Now if you go to resources, you will find out under resources section, you will see there is something which is called as, if I expand this, you will find out it has got main window.baml file. Now this particular file is going to play a very vital role whenever it comes to something called as maybe plotting the UI elements. So I'm not going to go into detail of it. We will understand BAML in a while. So I'm going to go to Visual Studio now, and in Visual Studio, whatever code we have, whatever we have compiled, without errors, without warnings, I'm just going to go and run the application. So here I run the application. If I run it, you will notice it simply puts up UI. And then what we have here is a simple click button. Click here and then hello WPF appears on screen. So it's very simple to develop a basic application like this. However, this application has no meaning. Reason behind that, barring simply saying hello, it doesn't do anything as such. So here is what I'm going to do now. What I'm going to do is I am going to play with XAML. So I'm going to go to XAML, and then just like button has got name, height, width, content, click, similar to that, what I'll do is I'm going to specify to button that button should transform itself while rendering happens in the UI, and it should rotate itself by the angle something like 30 or so. Now see to it. You will find out something like this. It's too difficult in case of WinForm, but within few seconds you can actually go for maybe developing something like this. So a button which was normally a block shape button, I have tilted this button with the angle 30, and then message box appears as it is. So you will find out it's very easy to play with any kind of a control in terms of animation, or this is not animation as of now, but imagine this angle continuously changes. So obviously if the angle is continuously changing, it is more or less animation. So you'll find out WPF is full of surprises like this, and we will evaluate those surprises in sessions which are about to come.